Hi, I'm Michael Gibbs.
And I'm Lori Gibbs.
I'm River Burnett.
I'm Ira Gibbs.
I'm Rachel Gibbs.
And I'm Drew Gibbs.
Well, I have 3 older sisters, and two of them have had a child with hemophilia, and one has a grandchild with hemophilia. So I grew up with hemophilia in the family, and when Drew was born, they were amazing mentors. And one of the boys was a patient at OHSU, and so was very familiar. We were already familiar with staff and people at the clinic. And Patty Adams was the nurse at the time, so there was sort of a family connection between. And Ben, his cousin, who was that patient, was his mentor at camp for the first time he went.
You know, had, like we said, the family to help us, and we took the approach of let's not cripple him emotionally or psychologically with like you have hemophilia.
Right.
So it was more a case of let him explore and find his own limits.
Mm-hmm.
And with us right there.
You know, I think you can answer that pretty well. I mean, he played Little League, and he's an incredible skier.
Oh.
So that was something that he really has excelled at. I think there was always the sense of, like Michael was saying, we didn't want to limit him, but in talking about it, we'd say, well, some people have brown hair, and some people have blue eyes, and some people have this and that, and you have hemophilia.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to go forward with that. And so I think not loving to run long distances, soccer was out.
That part was stressful, you know, finding out that we're having a little girl. We had previously had been pregnant, and they didn't carry full term in pregnancy, and it was a boy. And so there was that kind of relief, I think, that knowing, you know, it wasn't going to continue. And knowing we were having a little girl was like kind of a back in the throat, you know, when we're like, okay, we're excited, of course, but definitely changes things.
Sure.
And our day-to-day, I mean, is just as average, I think, as everybody else's. You know, we work, we play, and he's good about knowing his limits. He's good about knowing, you know, when something's hurting to stop or slow down or do an infusion. And so we're pretty good about that. And yeah, I mean, it's not something that like is all encompassing, but it's definitely there in the back of your head whenever you're out and about doing stuff, skiing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, not at all. It didn't affect my career in the sense of, you know, I grew up in the business, hated it for a really long time, had the chance to go out and have some really terrible jobs in the real world, and then go, you know, it's actually something I really love to do.
And so the business is?
We have the Winchester Inn, Alchemy Restaurant, and Smithfield's Restaurant. So it's hospitality industry. The one thing that did strike me as something that I remember walking, you know, going on walks with Dad and talking about this in middle school and high school is the ability to be your own boss. The flexibility it affords is huge, and the ability to kind of be able to set my own limits. I'm not in an office space. I don't have to, you know, be doing something physical if I'm not able to do it. That's been a big thing, and the transition's really kind of, I feel, fully changed in the last couple of years. You know, I don't have to be on the floor at the restaurant every night. I can come into the office, work in the office, and really kind of set my own schedule.
Well, it shut us down for 3 months.
Wow.
So it was pretty devastating, and now we're sort of working on the rebound, if you will. And it's good that we live in this small part of the world in Ashland, because the COVID hasn't hit us as drastically as it has the northern part of the state. Not to say there isn't risk or anything, And so we have to be very mindful of what's happening in the world. So all staff wears masks and that type of thing. And new protocols of all sorts.
And also, Ashland is the home of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, which is the draw for the tourist-based economy here. And of course, the festival has closed early in the season this year, and they were planning to reopen again in the fall, but with the conditions as they are, they won't reopen the rest of the year. So it changes the dynamic of what's happening here, and being an economy that's based on tourism. I mean, we do have a university here, but the draw is OSF.
Yeah.
And so it's meant a change in our approach to how we do things, but it's also meant that we've gotten some new people coming
Sure.
through and introducing them to Ashland and the things that they can enjoy while they're here, which are outside of the festival.
I think what we really strive to offer is all the amenities and luxuries that you'd find in a big city in a 5-star hotel, but with a small, unique setting and an intimate, family feel for hospitality. The restaurants strive to be anything that you'd ever find anywhere. San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, New York. And that when you come and stay with us, it's like coming and staying at your house in the sense of you feel so welcome and it just feels like being home.
That's exactly what we would say.
A lot of the people don't realize what else we have here. We have, 90 wineries. We have river rafting. We have skiing. It's an incredible little valley and it's beautiful. So, the people are discovering that and they're not so tied into the Shakespeare Festival, which does an excellent job, and we're looking forward to it being reopened. But there are other things to do, and
Sure.
that's what people are discovering.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, first of all, I really feel like they have given so much to us with these. The opportunities that have been presented for Drew in his lifetime, not only with camp, but just the connections of people within the community and how solidifying that is to be able to know that you've got this resource there that is always available and always willing to help. I mean, the commitment of the people who work within this community is just, it just makes my heart melt.
So one of the reasons you asked why we donate, and I think it's because we've been in a odd way with the family history. We were fortunate in that we had that incredible support, and we've had the clinic has sent people our way who are first-time parents with babies with hemophilia who have a great deal of fear and they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And so I feel like we've helped in some ways alleviate the fear and say it's doable. It's, and you can take this on and make it work for yourself. So it's sort of our way of giving back to the community, I think.